Sirius XM wants to go back to the Opster. So this guy, Reggie Jackson, tweets at Opie, looks like there might be an opening in the mornings in October at Sirius, hashtag bring Opie back. And Opie tweets, they called. I'm not interested. So Opie claiming that Sirius XM has called to have him replace Jim and Sam effectively. Okay, let's keep it real. This is obviously bullshit. All right, it's like when he was going to get Artie on his podcast. One of the typical Opie bullshit things, most likely. However, Jim and Sam are having contract issues, and they keep saying we don't know if we're going to be there because they're being so lowballed. But would they really return to the Opster? But it's probably bullshit. But the reason why it's such a good troll is Jim and Sam know that this is probably bullshit, but in the teeniest part in the back of their tiny fucking brains, they're probably like, oh, is he telling the truth? You know, Jimmy's paranoid ass. Is he telling the truth? But anyway, plus another reason how you know that it's bullshit is because Opie said he's not interested. Yeah, let me assure you, Opie would be a lot more interested, wouldn't be interested if it was Sirius XM. You think he wouldn't give up his Westwood One podcast to go work at the radio at Sirius XM? So that's how you know it's bullshit. And then, so he expands upon that and he says, the money was dumb and too many toxic people would remain. Apple Podcast is where I'm at for now. Now, this is the thing that could make it perhaps maybe a real thing. Because he said the money was dumb. They're trying to underpay Jim and Sam like a motherfucker. And that is the contract problems that are happening. I'd assume they're probably trying to cut both of them in half. Because Jimmy said it's laughable. Maybe they did actually hit up Opie, but threw him a retarded offer of like barely anything he's making. Maybe Sirius is at that point where, yeah, maybe they did hit up Opie, but they're like at like a quarter of what you were making before. Because I will say this, if it was a lie, he would have just kept it to the I'm not interested. But the fact that he expounded and he goes, the money was dumb and too many toxic people would remain, meaning Travis, Troy, Quan, they'd probably keep all those guys. Because those guys, I don't believe they sign contracts. They're just employees. So that's actually giving me a hint that might, maybe Sirius did reach out to him, but just threw him a retardedly low offer. Basically what they're doing to Jim and Sam now. And like, all right, Jim and Sam, we're offering them less money. Maybe we can get Opie for really less money. I don't know, but I don't know, that little part there also adds a tinge of maybe it's true, but then again, you have to remember Opie's a bullshitter. So and then this guy put, what happened? Who's leaving? Opie says, I honestly have no idea who's leaving. I was asked about my availability. Now, he said this before about a job offer before, too. And I still think that was bullshit. Then this guy puts, dang, I enjoyed the podcast, but hoped for a return to a daily show, especially on Sirius XM. And Opie said, working on that with Westwood One. So maybe a daily show with Westwood One. And then this guy puts, you really can't expect us to believe that. And he says, believe what you want to, bruh. And then he's just answering people. And then he's, so you want to place a bet? You know, the typical Howard Stern thing. Put it in escrow. And then they said, yeah, Kay, I'm sure the company you're allegedly suing, how's that going, by the way? You sounded so confident. Is going to ask you to come back. Opie says, I settled all the differences with the company. Obviously, you don't listen to my podcast. Yeah, Opie claims to have gotten a settlement. And then he basically says, like a sign off of, I told the truth. Now, I would usually call this bullshit, and it probably still is bullshit. But the fact that he said the money was too dumb, meaning way too low, it's not inconceivable that SiriusXM would say, hey, you want to come back for like what would they offer Opie at this point? Like, they'd have to, like, maybe less than $1 million, probably. You got to remember, when he was working there with Anthony, him and Ant were making $3 million each. Ant got fired. They probably bumped him up like another 500 G's. And then that last thing with Jimmy, they said when Jim and Sam and he moved to the afternoon, he said they cut his pay to like half of what he was making. So he was probably down to like less than 1.5 million. And they're probably offering him way less than that for this new offer if it really did happen. So I don't know. Opie's claiming that SiriusXM wants him back. Come back, tits.